Sangye Nyenpa Rinpoche 미국 사제신고 보관한 거와차 이제도 자제신고 남자진 마다나 만화와 수신도 남도 남도 지구 년도 공동상도 저도 투지에 담배 출산을 다들은 sorry.
All sentient beings have the chance to reach their basic nature, which is the state of Mahamudra, and to contribute to this goal. I decide here now to unmistakably take into myself the instructions of Mahamudra and follow the path without error with this noble motivation, which is called Bodhicitta, and the request that we may listen to him.
다들은 이번 지사주에 말이고 지사주에 말에 가장 싸워서 기가 이니어와 그냥 내가 보고
뭐가 지사주가
뭐가 지사주가 이니어래 다 대신 지사주에 말에 유일라 때에 유일의 셈소 통 셈나 때에 셈의 노동 니라 때에 인생 나서도 그래서 셈들이 똑바로
Now we are in our wish to reach the basic nature, Mahamudra, in that part, which is wishing for actually taking it into experience. And we have seen the process goes through peaceful abiding, and secondly, it goes through the deep insight of Vipassana. Vipassana was presented as the actual Vipassana, and the further point of clarification, which is coming today with the following verse. Looking at objects. No objects are there, they are seen as mind. Looking at mind. No mind is there, it's empty in essence. Looking at both. Belief in the existence of two is liberated in its own place. May the basic nature, mind, in its luminous clarity, be realized.
다 지금 방법이 유일라 때에 유일의 셈소 통스라고 다 디토다데 되네 치루 자 제로 대전나 소바이나 너나 나와 하소서 시작되게 유일돼서라 되네 공중의 시작지 되네 제가 다른 미국도 되네 제대로 유일돼 장기 모를 맞을 거 통화되라 유일라 때에 유일의 스라
공정이 시작하지.
공정이 시작하는데
So now we come to the first line. The first line says, they're looking at objects, there are no outer objects there, they're seen as mind. So taking the first thing, there are no outer objects. So what does it mean? It means that here, within the process of familiarization, the intelligence that arises from familiarization looks at the object of the senses. So what seems to be there as the object of senses, like we have form for the eye, sound for the ear, and smell and taste, touch, tactile sensation. So all this is normally object of our senses. And here the mere awareness that arises as intelligence from out of our process of getting used to the nature of mind, of the process of training, of familiarization. This intelligence looks straight at those objects and discovers that there isn't anything behind this mere impression of the object. There is no object out there.
개인도 다 유일매세하기 지당 유일매세잖아 군도로 고가다 그래. 이거 유일매, 수매, 자매, 트매 그냥 요 말에서 나잖아. 근데 군도로 고가다 그래. 개인도 매세하고 매백의 세대 강력한 샤고 와서나 공중 시작 때문에 내고 그마도 리베 제베가로 지당 출매세는 양 출매발 내백의 시 타투거든 다든지 출매발 내백의 시 타투거든 공중 시작 때문에 마도 제투고 개인도 다든지 이거를 유매에서 다 매발 타셔야 돼 매발 타셔야 돼 강력한 타셔나 공중 시작 때문에 매발 내발 타셔
So now, when saying there are no objects, so which indicates that there is nothing at all, normally speaking, this is the extreme of ignoring or denying. It is against the usual perception of this world. We assume that things are out there. And if we were just in the process of gaining a certainty and establishing a viewpoint, such an extreme statement of saying there is nothing at all would be falling in the extreme of denial. However, here, the intelligence that makes the statement is the intelligence that arises spontaneously out of the process of familiarization. So while resting in certainty, this spontaneous intelligence comes to the conclusion there isn't anything behind the sense impression. Now, when there are no objects there, as recognized by the intelligence that comes out of the process of familiarization, what then makes the appearance arise? So if the mere appearance is not caused by the objects themselves, what does cause the appearance of those sense objects to arise? Here, this intelligence at the same time, when it discovers that there is no object behind the sense impression, discovers that this is mind. It's just a play, a display of the nature of mind. It's the reflective appearance of one's own mind that causes the mere impression, the mere appearance of those sense objects. Now Marpa, the great translator, has given the instruction of Mahamudraprayer to his disciple Milarepa in 4 steps, and those 4 steps are first to point out that whatever appears is but mind. It's the reflective appearance of mind. Secondly, then, that this mind itself is empty. It's empty of inherent nature. Thirdly, that this emptiness, this being empty, is spontaneously present. And fourthly, that spontaneous presence is self-liberating. Those are the 4 steps. So when by previous examination and process of scrutinizing the appearances, we have understood, and it was very plausible, that there are the mere appearance of world does not necessarily mean that there are objects really existing out there behind them. So here the intelligence that arises from the process of familiarization spontaneously comes to the certainty that there are no objects out there behind the appearance. Appearance is just mind. Okay, but what then? What about mind? Here, then, this intelligence again looks at mind itself to discover that mind is not identifiable. There's nothing to hold on. There's no base for arisal, no origin. So mind is empty in itself.
세우세요. 이제면 자원해봐. 내면 뜻도 통해서
Now, then, what does it mean that consciousness or mind does not exist? Definitely, we are under the impression that mind exists in our confused state of mind. But this is just a mere impression. It seems to be like this, that mind is there, as long as we do not check. As soon as we start investigating, mind is not to be found. So what's the case with mind? If we look at mind, either then some things are already passed, so they're gone. We can't hold on to them anymore. Then, or they haven't happened yet, so they're not there either. Then we say, okay, then it's the mind of the present. But this present mind, when I try to look at it, where's that presence? Any moment that I try to focus on as the present moment already falls into part, something that already is gone and something that hasn't happened. And so in between, the very moment of presence, I cannot really find, cannot grasp. So this process of actively, by one's own mind power, checking what mind is, ends up in the result that there is no mind to be found as something identifiable. This is during the process of investigation. And now we can understand when, while with our thoughts and mind power we try to find this mind, we cannot find it. It also is plausible that in the situation where we just rest and abide, the spontaneously arising intelligence out of the process of familiarization also will not be able to find the mind.
第一，我动在这个看到的出现没有？这个呀，生冬天现在就不会用来，生冬不用来这样，你或者他现在冬不用用，生到了口这么年，当时就没有了。生月这么年，已经没有早的了。
这个冬季做做
冬西冬天说不用用，生月这么年，不当心那边定的有吧？
Now, the second line says, looking at mind, mind isn't there. It is empty in essence. Saying empty in essence has a great implication. Because there is nothing needed else different than mind to make it empty. And there is nothing that is empty of something else. So in that sense, in all the times, mind is empty, even just merely appearing, it already is empty. That is meant by empty in itself or empty by essence. So having looked at our impression of outer objects, to discover that there aren't any objects behind the impression is just the mind itself. And however, and mind doesn't have any graspable, identifiable essence. It's empty in itself. Then outer objects, the impression of outer objects and the impression of mind to be there becomes very similar, because they're both empty in essence. In that way, looking at both the idea of the wrong belief or error to think that the world is twofold, split into two, object and subject, something to focus on and the mind that focuses, this error collapses right in itself, because there's nothing true behind this error.
되네. 네 매번 때는 미바네. 당도 유네. 유네 받을 때는 미바네. 미바선과 네 미바 유나. 대이가나야 싸워네. 싸움이지. 네 바네. 내 사이로 말해. 내가 원래 가르치는 중반에서나 말이 주기 싫은 중. 말이 주기 중. 되네. 그래서 따나 통마당 의당 당마도 봐. 통마 운전하는 거. 뒤에서 되는 거 아무도. 잠깐. 우리도 주시봐. 공공들이 내면 이거 유명한 싸움이지. 내 밤에 말이 주기 싫은 중. 통마 운전하는 거.
Now, looking at those first 3 lines here, that there is no object, no mind, and looking at both, the belief in the existence of 2 collapses is the common explanation of all the traditions of the middle path. And whether it be like in the sense of being self-empty, that everything is empty of itself or in itself, or in the sense of being empty from something different, like the basic nature of mind being different, being empty of what is not pertaining to its nature. The last line, however, is an uncommon, special explanation of Mahamudra, saying that may the basic nature be realized, which is luminous clarity of mind. So here clearly, this is the explanation that goes along with the understanding of the Shentong. Madhyamaka means the middle path that sees the pure nature of mind be totally empty and free from any states. So the first 3 then are the common explanation of the middle path, and this is very well characterized by the statement of the great protector Nagarjuna, who says, when looking at the appearance of this world and this life, there is no object there, there's nothing what abides, there is no perceiving or grasping, there is no origin, there is no base. Out of mere unawareness, intensively there arise. They have no beginning, no middle, and no end. They are like banana tree, they are without any core. When investigating the impression of this world and life, then one cannot find any object behind the impression. So there is nothing there what really abides as an object. And to the same extent that there is no other object to be found behind the impression, there is also no mind that can grasp and hold on to this object. So there is no perceiving, grasping mind, there is no other object. And for both of them, there is no origin, no basis to arise. There's nothing there from out of which both can arise. So what happens is that just out of mere unawareness and ignorance, the intense and overwhelming impression of both of them happens. Although they are without any beginning, without end, without middle, without arising, without ceasing, and no state, but they are like the banana tree that you can peel off the bark, and however much you peel, you never find the real tree behind. That's what is said. So it has no inner core, it's just taking layer and layer off, but you never arrive at the inner substantial core.
대당태는 도대쟁에 나와. 때문에 여러 장박이요. 샘내심에 빠는 의리네. 샘내심에 빠는 의리네. 때문에 샘장에 빠는 것도 아무 샘내심에 봐. 이거랑 이거 말을 갖다가 되게 뭐 샘내심에 빠는 의리. 때문에 샘장에 빠는 것도 샘장 하시지 말아다가 샘장에 빠는 것도 로당 때문에 이부 매리나 때문에 제가 취지 이만에 로당 좀 마음 셔럽다다 공중이 셔럽다다 나도 봐지기
Now we can understand this also by another word that is found in the teaching of Maitreya, in the second teaching, which is called the ornament of the sutra teaching, Sutra Alankara, and the verse and says then, by the power of one's mind, discover that there isn't any object out there, the mind, the awareness itself is found to be without existence. For that recognizing mind, the perceiving mind is found to be without existence. When those with the wise one, when the wise ones have discovered that both are not to be found, then there abide in the invalidity of both, there abide in the open expanse of the genuine nature, Dharma. When you try to find auto objects behind the impression of this life and this world, then the investigating mind doesn't find it. So by one's investigating power and intellect, one cannot find any object out there. So if there is no point of reference and object out there, then secondly, the mind that perceives those seeming objects cannot exist either. So how can a perceiving mind exist of something that is not there? What can it perceive? So both of them are not existent. And when the wise ones, that means the Bodhisattvas who have developed the intelligence that comes out of the process of training, the spontaneous intelligence that arises from familiarizing oneself with reality, that when those wise ones have thus understood that both are not present, neither the object nor the subject, they abide in the invalidity of both, that both are not true, which is the open expanse of the genuine truth, which is Dharma.
Then you say something into double show. How you say something new say I do, Rangshin Jiba and Tawa. Karazana, you say something new la, Jiba Yen Kurman Hare. You name Yen and Rangshi Suri. Today in Luke, Jun Pa Sayam Nebalam, you then through Sadoja Maybe, to a Saga Rangshin Jiba and Tawa. And then Rangshi so daughter was assembly, you will double, found she get to the shop.
When now arriving at the fourth line, where it says, may the underlying nature, the basic being, mind, and luminous clarity be realized. This indicates that what really then is there is that very basic nature of mind, the natural state of mind, which is luminous clarity and is immaculate. Immaculate from the very beginning. It's not that at any point one has to remove any stains from it. It always has been free, naturally free from all error, deception, and all temporary delusions. So primordially pure, at the same time endowed with all the qualities, right from the start. At no time anything has to be added on to the nature of mind as a quality during the process of meditation. Nothing has to be removed, nothing to be added on. This is the natural, pure presence of nature of mind, luminous clarity. Now we can see that all the great teachers of the middle path that teach that everything is empty in itself are explaining that very basic nature by means of exclusion, excluding all the errors, then finally they arrive at what really there is. So they start with a very, very coarse impression that we have, that behind the appearances of this life and this world, there really is something there. There is something independently existing behind the appearance. And that there is a personal I there behind the impression that I have that there is an I itself. So all of these mistaken impressions, they investigate and find it's all wrong. And having refuted the impression of existence, they also refute the impression of that there is non-existence, so that we don't get stuck in this idea. Thus, they lead us away by excluding all the errors, the mistakes, and the ideas that finally we arrive at the very basic nature. On the other hand, there's a tradition of Saraha and Maitreya that directly talks about the basic nature from the point of view of existence, and saying the basic nature always has been pure, is immaculate from the start, alpha pure and also alpha perfect. Nothing has to be added on, nothing has to be taken away. So this is a different explanation, showing it from the side of existence, and the others show it from the side of what all does not exist there. Both arrive at the same point, and they are not contradictory in any way.
가서 셰베 값으로 양 선제상신으로 사실 시에나 견증을 비요. 그와 가르스나 최통제 동반이래 방식들만 그거데 년에는 대로다 년에는 대반을 하고 최에나 대한 규모다고 하는다고 해서시 양 선제상신으로 사이에서는 만든 것좀 차이래. 대라든지 가초마도 되는 이 선조고 걸어 가는 거고. 이 따와를 때가 파찬에 이 예술단에 야와 자백의 종을 놓는 것들이 선제상신으로 사는 이유도 시행도 보다 그 탑상모 손을 거서는 대한 인천상모도 대라든지 이것들을 통해서 쓰는 야와 이렇게
So not understanding this point here, the two different ways to explain the one and same basic nature, then one could have the idea that those are contradictory. Like it even happens up to the present day in Tibet that some believe that the point of explanation of Nagarjuna, excluding every error of mind and showing everything to be empty in itself, is in contradiction to what Maitreya taught, that pure nature is empty of something that is different from it. So the one called the Rangtong, the other Shentong. So some people believe that I'm a Rangtong and you are a Shentong. We have totally different opinions. This is just not knowing the fact that within a system of explanation where you try to explain the nature by exclusion, like Nagarjuna did, you just have to be consequent in that. You have to follow that line. When you say then show that the impression of nirvana, the world of suffering, is not really there, and when that is not there, then the opposite, which is samsara is not there, then the opposite of nirvana, the state beyond suffering, cannot be there either. So to teach people to not hold on to any idea as something substantially existing, in the same line you cannot explain that the Buddha nature exists. Then it will totally confuse people. So you have to stick to the one system of explanation and say, anything that you hold on to and you believe that is there, it's an error. You can show that logically. And when you have then abandoned all ideas and opinions and preconceptions about this world, then it makes a lot of sense to hear the teaching of Maitreya saying that this very natural state, the basic nature, is immaculate from the beginning, it's perfect from the beginning, nothing to add on, nothing to take away. So there's no contradiction at all.
단 니도 엄마도 가르치고 레이스 시행주디 시행주나 레이스 시행주 나 세우는 말에 전달을 가르쳐나 그거 잤었는데 그냥 이 시행주는 요소한다고 난 모두들에게 주인들가 나와 동반 이인의 때문에도 자외 진이 순간감 대단 큰지 명도 감든냐가 제목이 동반 이 때문에도 탐지들이 더 나아가려서나 나도 순간감 명만 탐지 조금의 체도 동반이 되는데 그만도 감 생기면서 그냥 많이 연구를 요소는
So, when we have this understanding that those 2 points of explanation are not different, not in contradiction, you can read some of the common texts in a very interesting way. Dhatu. There he says, all the amount of sutra that the Buddha spoke, as much as there are only to refute our omnipresent mental affliction. They never were spoken to deteriorate the basic element. When the Buddha spoke in all his various sutras, the various remedies, and to take apart our misconception, this all was just a skillful means to remove our cause of suffering, that we hold this world for truth, and then we get entangled in the interaction with the seeming world by all our mental afflictions and passion and so on. So, to be a remedy for that, but all this refutation and those statements never were deteriorating the basic element, the potential for complete enlightenment, the Buddha nature. This was never affected by all the statements of the Buddha. That's it. May the basic nature of the mind, with its luminous clarity, be realized.
Today, 대저의 연대다 나와주시는 관계자요. 뒤에서는 상대가 생긴 찍어 인생 되고와 그만도 지난 찍어 있는 말에 좀 출발해 상대는 출발세 아니 뭔가 상대가 좀 출발 나는 이나양 남배 차에 출발만 준비 요하고 뭐 차에 연대 차에 제발 때되게 거 말에 뒤에 차에 상대는 생긴 찍어 있는 거 봐.
Now, we all have this option, an opportunity. In fact, all the qualities are present right within ourselves. That's why it is said, sentient beings and Buddhas are one and the same. Obviously, from the mode of appearance, there's a difference, since we seem to be stuck in confusion and acting in a way that we maintain our suffering. And the Buddha is endowed with all those qualities. This is the mode of appearance. But as to the very essence of our own being, our own mind, and the essence of the Buddha have not the slightest difference. The very basic nature of our mind is totally pure. It's alpha pure and alpha perfect.
Ja, dat wel.
So, die Fragen, questions?
Ja.